Today's video is sponsored by nobility.co.uk.
Welcome to Noble Titles. Established in 1996, we are experts in legal titles. Most people don't realize that you can buy legal titles from the UK and other European countries. In the UK, there are two types of titles. Firstly, peerages that are granted by the Queen. These cannot be sold. The other is manorial feudal titles that were once based on land ownership. These are legal to sell. We only sell such legal titles that conform with the UK law. All our titles are insured for £250,000, equal to $300,000 per title. This guarantees we only sell genuine, inheritable real titles. Companies selling titles without insurance are 99% fake titles. For titles available for sale, click the links here on the left. We look forward to assisting you in acquiring a proper legal title for you and your family to enjoy. You only buy a title once, so buy insured titles from an established company with decades of experience. Noble Titles. Thank you for visiting.
August 15, 2009, the tiny Middle Eastern nation of Kuwait witnessed the deadliest civilian tragedy in the country's history that would send shock waves through the country. The tragedy would forever be ingrained in the minds of Kuwaitis and lead to one of the only times the nation implemented the death penalty on a woman. Capital punishment in Kuwait is legal punishment, and hanging is the method of choice for civilian executions. However, shooting is a legal form of execution in certain circumstances. These crimes may be punished with death under Kuwaiti civilian law: premeditated murder, terrorism giving in death, perjury resulting in an innocent execution, destroying buildings belonging to the government or those known to be inhabited, rape, kidnapping, drug trafficking, and espionage. Under the Kuwaiti Military Code, these military offenses may be punished with death: revealing classified information, cowardice, desertion, collaborationism, rebellion, insubordination, and interfering with action in the line of defense. As well as this, enemy soldiers can be executed if they commit war crimes or spy on the Kuwaiti military or government. After trial, and a person is sentenced to death in a Kuwaiti court, their case is automatically reviewed by the appellate court, of whom take into consideration the crime, evidence reviewed by the court, the previous convictions of defendant, and other factors. If the Court of Appeal rejects this appeal, then they go to the Court of Cassation, of which is the highest governing legal body in the country. Once it has been reviewed, the Emir of Kuwait must approve of the sentence. Once this occurs, an execution order is issued by the Chief Justice, specifying the date, time, place, and method of the execution, of which is given to the prosecutor. On the night of August 15, 2009, friends and family members gather to celebrate a wedding. In Kuwait, it is a tradition for weddings to be segregated based on gender, with the bride, her female guests, and young children in a private tent. The men would be close by celebrating in another location. On this fatal night, the female tent was packed with over 100 guests, dancing, eating, and celebrating with their loved ones. The tent was suddenly engulfed in flames, with only one exit. In a panic, the guests tried to flee, causing a stampede. Unfortunately, many who were not able to escape were trapped inside. It took only 3 minutes for the entire tent to burn down. These 3 minutes resulted in the deaths of 57 women and children, and left 90 more injured. The initial death toll was 42 victims, but over the year, it rose to 57. Many victims were hospitalized for long, agonizing months before finally dying as a result of their injuries. The bodies were so badly charred that authorities called forensic specialists to identify the victims. It didn't take long for authorities to realize that someone deliberately started this fire. They found their suspect to be 23-year-old Nasra Yussef Mohammad al-Enezi. The groom's 23-year-old first wife, Nasra Yussef Mohammad al-Enezi, who was alleged to have exacted revenge for her husband taking a second wife, poured petrol on a tent where women and children were celebrating, setting it on fire. Within around 3 minutes, the whole tent, which had only one exit and did not meet fire safety regulations, was engulfed in flames, trapping many inside. It had been claimed that the temperature inside the tent exceeded 500 degrees Celsius. Nasra Yussef Mohammad al-Enezi was a 23-year-old mother of 2 and a wife. She married her husband Zayed Zafira. When she was in her late teens, she soon gave birth to 2 children, who both struggled with disabilities. 23-year-old Nasra al-Enezi and her 36-year-old husband, Zayed Zafiri, were a prosperous pair with 2 children, Shaka aged 5, and Muhammad aged 3. According to Kuwaiti law, men are permitted to have multiple wives, and in August 2009, Zayed Zafiri decided to enter into a second marriage. Nasra was less than thrilled about this, but did not have many options available to her but to let it happen. Divorce is heavily discouraged and considered shameful in the Islamic faith, which the couple adhered to. Nasra's husband was celebrating his wedding to his second younger bride. Nasra claimed physical and mental abuse at the hands of her husband, and his relatives drove her to set the tent on fire. Nasra was arrested the following day and confessed. The 23-year-old told police she poured petrol around the packed wedding tent and set it on fire to avenge her ex-husband's bad treatment of her before their divorce. She was charged with premeditated murder, attempted murder, and arson. Her trial started in October 2009, and she denied the charges, claiming that she had confessed under arrest due to threats. Nasra also claimed that she had lost a baby after she was given abortion pills by a prison employee related to her husband. In November 2009, Judge Adel Al-Sager ordered her to undergo psychiatric tests after her defense lawyers claimed that she had suffered unspecified mental disorders when she was a child. He also agreed to summon her husband and her Asian maid. The 2 implicated her in starting the fire. Nasra later claimed that she poured cursed water onto the tent in a black magic ritual, but not gasoline. Nasra was brought to the small courtroom from the central prison, accompanied by 5 female guards. Pale and looking frail, she was allowed to sit outside the dock, which is not usual for defendants that are in custody. She initially refused to speak after 2 female guards had helped her to the judge's rostrum. Dressed in a long gray dress, the young woman had entered the court with her face fully covered. But when she approached the judge, guards removed the cover, revealing her stunned face. She refused to answer questions by the judge, who ordered guards to give her water and told her to sit. The judge then proceeded with other cases. At the judge's second attempt to ask her plea, she denied the charges. Her 3 lawyers called for her release pending the full trial and accused prison officials of mistreating her. In March 2010, Nasra was found guilty of 57 counts of premeditated murder and starting a fire with the intent to kill and sentenced to death. She was hanged at Central Prison on the 25th of January 2017. She was one of 7 people executed in Kuwait that day. At the age of 26, Nasra was executed by hanging. Nasra and 1 other woman executed with her were reportedly in a state of near collapse when the time of their executions came. Nasra Yussef Mohammad al-Enezi and 2 other women were moved to isolated cells at Central Prison on January 23, 2017, the morning of their execution. Security was tight with snipers positioned on nearby roofs. A team of 4 doctors and 6 technicians arrived at the prison at 5 a.m. Nasra was transported by police SUV to the execution site in the staff car park. Kuwait authorities did not allow the media to witness the hangings, and there was little negative reaction in the press or the international community. Thank you for watching Death Row.